Good morning to all. So, in the last class, we have discussed what is chi-square test and what are the applications of this chi-square test. The first two applications we have discussed. The first one is it is used for testing the variances of two populations, and second one is it is using for testing the goodness of fit. Okay, and the third one is this test can be used for the test of independence. Test of independence. So we can apply this test for testing the independence of attributes. Okay. For that, you may consider, suppose we have two attributes. Attributes means two categories, two separate events, A and B. They are two attributes. And we suppose we divide these attributes into, suppose A is divided into M categories, A1, A2, A3, etc. M categories are there for the attribute A. And for B, suppose the categories are B1, B2, B3, etc. Bn. So total how many observations are there? Total we have A1, A2, A3, etc. Am categories for attribute A, N categories for attribute B. So total M into N observations are there. We can represent these attributes in a matrix form. See, suppose I am taking B as columns and A as rows. So we have V1, V2, etc. some Bj, etc. Bm. Okay. Bn, n observations for Bn. And similarly for the attribute A, the categories are A1, A2, etc. some Ai, etc. Am. Okay. And these are the categories for the attributes A and B. Now look the cells. Here we have M into N cells in this situation. Okay. Now suppose the number of observations in each cell I denote as, in the first cell I have F11 observations, and in the second cell F12, etc. F1j, etc. F1n observations are there in the first attribute for first category for attribute A. Similarly for A2 it is F21, F22, etc. F2j, etc. F2m, n, F2n, etc. For ith one it is Fi1, Fi2, etc. Fij, etc. Fin. Similarly, for the last row is Fm1, Fm2, etc. Fmj, etc. Fmn. Okay. So these are the observations. These are the observations in the cell. Okay. So this table is called contingency table. This table is called contingency table. Contingency table. Contingency table. So this type of representation is called contingency table. It is just like a M by N matrix. Okay. Now for the first row we denote the total, row total. The row total here is, I think somebody is waiting. Okay, for the first row, the total is, I denote the total for first row is F1 dot. Dot means total first row is fixed, that is this is 1 and this dot is changing. Okay, and for second one it is f2 dot. Similarly for ith one it is fi dot. Here it is fm dot. Okay, and you may find out the column sums. Here the column sums are for the first one. Which one is varying? The first one is first suffix is varying. It is f dot 1.
ഇതെങ്ങനെ ഉണ്ടാവുക?
Okay, it is f dot 1. It is f dot 1.
നിങ്ങളിങ്ങനെ അല്ലത് ഇങ്ങനെയാണ് എല്ലാവരും.
This f dot 1. For the second one it is f dot 2. Here if is f dot j, etc. It is f dot n. And the entire total it is denoted by f dot dot. And also can be said that it is capital N, the total number of observations, that is m into n. It is the capital N. So is it clear what is this table? This table is a m by n matrix, and this matrix is called contingency table. Here we have two attributes A and B, and this rows representing the categories for attribute A and columns representing the attributes for B. And here the problem is whether A and B are independent. So we have to test whether these attributes A and B are independent. Is it clear? So you have to familiar with these notations. Notations I used here. Suppose these these attributes are independent. So what we have to test? Our H naught is, these are whether, if H naught is true, that means these are independent. H naught, here we have to, for testing independence, we have to fix H naught and H1. Now H naught is null hypothesis, H1 is alternate hypothesis. Suppose H naught says that these attributes are independent. So in that case you consider the event some AI and another event from Bj. So AI means ith category of attribute A, Bj means jth category of attribute B. Then if our H naught is true, means these two attributes are independent. If they are independent, then we know that from the probability theory, we know that probability of A into B. What about that probability? Probability of AB is probability of A into probability of B if A and B are independent. So this can be written as probability of A into probability of Bj. Probability of A into probability of Bj. Okay. So what is probability of AI Bj? Probability of AI Bj means AI Bj is a particular cell, AI here and Bj here. That cell is this cell Fij. That is the number of observations corresponding to AI and Bj. What about the probability of that event? Probability of that event is you divide this number with the total number. Total number is n. So this probability is Fij by capital N. Is it clear? AI Bj is this cell. So you divide the number of observations in this cell with the total probability. So this is equal to probability of AI. How to find out probability of AI? You know AI is this category. For that category, total number is Fi dot. Total number is Fi dot. So for that, the probability is you divide that Fi dot divided by total number, capital N, that into probability of Bj. Probability of Bj means for Bj you have f dot j observations. You divide that number of observations with the total number. So you get this result Fij divided by n. Fij means total number of observations in the ijth cell, that divided by total observations. Fi means total number in the ith cell divided by n, total number in the jth cell divided by n. Okay. So by solving this, you get this is Fij is equal to Fi dot into F dot j by n. Can cancel one n, and this result is important. If you know Fi dot and F dot j and the total number, then you can estimate the number of observations in the ijth cell. So this result says that in this matrix, if you know the number of observations here Fi, and here it is Fj, F dot j, Fi dot. If you know these two values, you can find out the number of observations here. Here it is Fij. So this Fij is equal to product of this into the total number. Here you have the total number. So you multiply the row sum into column sum and divide that by total number. You will get the number of observations in the ijth cell. This result is important for solving the independence of attributes. Okay. Now here the test statistic. What will be the test statistic here? That you know, because chi-square, we are testing chi-square. So test statistic is chi-square test here. Our test statistic is chi-square. So what is the definition for chi-square? Chi-square, you know, it is summation over I, OI minus EI whole square by EI. But here the observations are given in matrix form. We have rows and columns. So we can write this as I is 1 to m and j is 1 to n, Oij minus Eij, because the observations are given like bivariate m into n ways, bivariate case. So it is Eij, this all square divided by Eij. Okay. So the test formula here is summation over I, summation over j, Oij minus Eij whole square by Eij. So you have to find out in each cell. Here we have m into n cells. In each cells, the Oij values are given. So you have to find out Eij values in each cell. How to find out Eij values? For that, you use the earlier result. In the ijth cell, the total number of observations, that will be equal to the row sum into column sum, that divided by total number. You will get the expected value. Using that expected value, find the difference between observed value and expected value, and using this formula, you will get the calculated value. Here, to get the decision, to make the decision, you want to use the table value. Okay, this chi-square is calculated value. Then to get the table value, you need two things. One is degrees of freedom, and the other one is level of significance. Okay, suppose you fix the level of significance is alpha. Then what about the degrees of freedom here? Here we know that we have m rows. Here in this case, m rows and n columns. N columns. Okay. So to get the degrees of freedom for this m into n contingency table, we use this technique. Degrees of freedom is equal to m minus 1 into n minus 1. So it's a simple technique. To minus 1 from the number of rows and minus 1 from the number of columns, then multiply that. Suppose you consider a contingency table 3 by 4. That means you have 3 rows and 4 columns. Then what about the degrees of freedom? In this case, degrees of freedom is equal to 3 minus 1 into 4 minus 1. Okay, it is 2 into 3. Okay, that is equal to 6. This is the way to find out the uh, degrees of freedom, and use this degrees of freedom and given alpha, use the table, you will get the table chi-square value. Using that table chi-square value and calculated chi-square value, and you just compare them. If the calculated test value is more than table test value, you reject your H naught. That means these two attributes are not independent, they are dependent. Is it clear? Otherwise they are independent. Okay, now you may consider a problem, how to use these techniques in a in solving real life problems. Okay, you consider a situation. Suppose you are asking your friends that whether the current online classes method, whether this method is whether you are accepting this method. What about your opinion about online classes? Okay, you are asking these questions to your friends. Okay, so in your question you are giving, suppose you are giving three categories. The first category is you are favor of online class, and second your opinion is neutral, and the third one you are opposed, you are against these online classes. Okay, so we have two attributes here. Suppose our a is three opinions are there. You are favor of online classes, and second one is you are neutral, you have no particular opinion about this online classes, and the third one but you are opposing this question. Okay, and we need one more attribute. The first attribute is the opinion of that particular survey, and the second attribute I take the sex of the students. Suppose one category is male and another category is female. So you are analyzing the opinion of male students and female students against our question about online classes. Okay, and suppose I conducted a survey, and I am giving the results as I have collected the opinion from suppose 90 students. Okay, so I got the results as this: first one favorable, then neutral, then oppose. Okay, sex is male, female, this is sex, and this is survey results. Okay, and here suppose this is first observation is 10, then 10, 30. So this is row total it is 50. Then here it is 15. Okay, 15, then 10. Okay, 30, 40. Then what about the column total? It is 25, then 40. So total is 90. So you are collected 90 information. From 90 students. Out of them 50 are males and 40 are females. See, 25 are favorable, 25 are neutral, and 40 are opposed this question. Okay, and here your problem is whether the opinion of these students, male students and female students, are equal or not, or the situation can be seen another way, whether there is any association between sex of students and opinion. So to solve this problem, see, these observations are called these are our observations. Okay, so let it be denoted by this is suppose I am denoting this O11, then O12, O13. Okay, here it is O21, O22, and O33. Now you find out the expected values in each cell. Here we have how many cells we have? We have six cells here. We have six cells. So we want to find out the expected cells in each and every cells. So for the first cell, how to get the expected value? For the first cell O11, what about the expected value? You multiplied its row total and column total. Row total is 50, column total is 25, and divide that by total number 90. So find out that value. This value is approximately 13.9. Similarly, so here 13.9 is this expected value. Similarly, here it is 25 into 50 by 19, 13.9. Then for the next cell, it is 22.2. Okay. Then it is 11.1. Next, it is here also it is 11.1, and the last cell it is 40 into 40 divided by 90. Okay, it is around 17.8. Okay. Now we got the expected or observed value and expected value. These values are expected value: E11, E12, E13. Okay, E14. Sorry, E21, E22, and E23. Okay. Now using this observed and expected value, you just find out the chi-square value. So how to get the chi-square value? You subtract the observed and expected value in each and every column, each and every cell. Okay. So chi-square is, what about chi-square? How to find out? For the first cell, it is 10 minus 13.89 whole square divided by 13.89. Okay. In that way, you find out these values in each and every column. Here you have 6 columns, so find out that value in 6 columns. This value is 11.03. Now use the table. How to use table? For that you need degrees of freedom. Here how many rows? We have 2 rows. So 2 minus 1 into 3 minus 1. What about that value? It is 2. Okay. Now you fix your alpha. Suppose your alpha is 0.05. Then from the chi-square table, you find out the value for chi-square 2, 0.05. That value is 5.991. So here note that calculated value is 11. Table value is 5.9. So what it means? It means that okay. What it means? It means your calculated value is more than table value. You reject your H naught. What about your H naught? H naught says that these two attributes are independent. Okay, H naught says that these two attributes are independent. But our result says that we reject H naught. We reject H naught. Calculated value is not. So there is no independence. Okay. Is it clear? You have anything to discuss? If you have any doubts in this section, you can ask now.